of a relative or friend, or you might be a hair care professional, but we're here to learn. And all the best American gurus always say, you've got to learn before you can earn. And one of the things that Agnes and her team are very keen on is teaching and getting people to learn and get the education around hair care and happy hair. Very quickly, we're not expecting a fire alarm, so if one does go off, it's out the door, out back where you came through, down the stairs and out the front door. But follow me, I'll be the first out. The loos are just over there, if you haven't found them, out in the main bit. Right, okay, so what are we going to learn today? We're going to start with hair, the science of hair. What is hair? How does it grow? What's the scientific background to our hair? We're going to look at some of the reasons why hair might stop growing, why we might have problems with our scalp, why we might have problems with our hair. What are some of the causes? We'll then look, surprise, surprise, at what are some of the things that can make it better, that can help, that can improve the condition of your hair and your scalp. There's then two very important things today. There's the launch of Dermafolica, which you've got some of the products down here. So this is a new venture for Agnes. And there's also the launch of the Hair Care Academy. Back to the theme of education, what we want to do is to educate the world, educate hair professionals about the issues around scalp and hair and how we can improve things. So, if it's appropriate, and if you want to take it further, there's an opportunity to explore all of these further with Agnes and her team, but only if it's appropriate and only if you want to. We're doing a lot of learning, and I guess my next question would be why? Why are we doing this learning? Well, ever since I've known Agnes and worked with Agnes, there's been a driving passion from her and a driving motivation about happiness. We might have a lot of different things we can do to our hair and our scalp, but it's all about confidence, self-esteem and happiness. So whatever we do is aimed towards making you feel good about yourself. Your hair, your scalp, your head, it's the most visible part of our bodies. And if there's a problem, if you don't feel good about it, it can ruin your self-confidence. So what we are is about making people happy, making people feel good about themselves through a whole variety of solutions that we have. Okay, I don't know how many of you know Agnes already, but even if you do, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. So, not too many years ago, I'm being kind to you, not too many years ago, Agnes was born in Africa and overcame quite a few structural and issues and barriers to progress, to learn, to better herself, to help other people. She moved to the UK, she came to the UK, and if you think a magic wand was waved and all those barriers and problems went away, no they didn't. She carried on being positive and focused and looking to the way forward, the way to grow her business, the way to improve her life, and more importantly to improve the lives of lots and lots of other people. So she trained as a hairdresser, and was a very good hairdresser, and she owned a number of salons in the north of the UK, Harrogate, Leeds, I don't know if there's any others, but a number of salons where she was giving great hair attention to her clients. But as always with Agnes, it's not enough. She wanted to do more. She wanted to help more people. So what she did is made a lot of personal sacrifice, raised the money and went to university. And she went to university to study trichology, which is the science of hair and scalp, and the diseases and the cures and what we can do to help that area of dermatology. So it was a big sacrifice in time, in money, in the existing business, but she qualified. And she did a brilliant job because number one, there's not that many ladies and females who've qualified in the society. And number two, there's not that many people of African origin who've qualified and are certified in the society. So it's a bit of a first. And Agnes is proud of that, but I'm really proud of her as well. It's a fantastic achievement. So she qualified. She's a certified member of the Society of Trichologists, which is the premier, the top of the pinnacle, the best society globally for this particular area. But she didn't stop there. There's a bit of a theme here, isn't there? Never stop, keep on going. She set up in the middle of Leeds, in the centre of Leeds, two main things at the moment. There's a clinic, which is absolutely about the treatment of trichological issues, and also a salon, which is hugely sympathetic and works hand in hand with the clinic in terms of people who just need their hair styling or maybe a hairpiece or whatever it has to be to help them feel happy about their hair. And that works very closely with the clinic and very closely with the range of products that Agnes is going to talk about later today. And then she didn't stop there. She's also published, how many books? 4?
3.
3. I won't get ahead of myself. 3 books and the 4th one to come. So she's also published 3 books on trichology and how you can help yourself and how you can make yourself feel better and happier. So I'm Alistair Harnby. It's been my privilege to work for the last 2 years with Agnes as her business coach and as her mentor in terms of building this wonderful empire of happy hair and happiness and positivity that she's building. So without further ado, and you've probably heard enough of me now, I'd like to introduce you to your presenter and host today, Agnes Maroof.
Good to see you all. Why are we all here today? I assume we're here to learn and know more about hair. So this is the program of what we are going to be covering today. So there will be quite a lot of interactions so that we can, discuss it all together, so you get to understand where we are coming, what we are doing. So we're going to talk about hair follicle, hair morphology, the hair cycle, hair loss and hair cycle, alopecia, traction alopecia demonstration. On this one, I'm going to demonstrate what we do in the clinic with any volunteer that will volunteer. Then we'll take a break, short break, and we'll come back, then we talk about the dangers of certain products. Then there will also, on this one, there'll be like a video that we'll watch just to see what other scientists are saying on certain products, or what is in those products that can actually affect everyday life. Then we will have discuss about hair needs, and then we participate on that one. Then there'll be a launch of hair growth supplements, which is the Dermafolic one. Then we'll get a feedback from you guys, and you tell us what you have learned. Then there'll be also the Hair Coach Academy launch as well, and then question and answers. Okay? What do you know about hair? Can someone tell me exactly what do you understand when you hear the word hair, or what do you know about hair?
It grows out of your head.
It grows out of your head, correct? Yes?
It's everything.
Hair is everything?
Yeah.
Right. Can you tell me why do you say hair is everything?
Because your hair determines your health,
All right.
your emotional health as well,
Right.
and just your overall.
Right.
Because if your hair are like, let me say, sick or diseased,
Right.
there is no way that you can really focus or function properly.
Okay. So do we agree on that one? I will agree with her, because sometimes you can only realize or miss something when you don't have it.
Oh yeah.
And to those that has been through the journey of hair loss, they will be my witnesses on that one. There's tears, there's stress, there's depression, there's everything you can think of when someone is losing hair. That's when you realize hair is so important. Hair is part of you. Okay? Is there anyone with any contribution on that one as well? What you can understand? What do you understand about hair? Yeah?
Woman's crowning glory.
Woman's crown and glory. Amazing. Yes, that's true. Because imagine walking in town. I mean, there's a story that I can just, a mini story that I can give you. One day, I went into a bank, and there was this lady, she has been conned, I mean, somehow, her money, whatever. Then she went to the bank, and she forgot that she was still, it was early in the morning, she was still wearing like a stocking, like, you know, when going to bed, some people, they wear those old stockings on their heads. And then she just ran into the bank, and then the stocking was still there, and she was like so confused, till I had to say, excuse me, you're wearing a stocking? And she couldn't even pay attention, because by the time she realized the stocking was old and everything, she panicked. And she dropped everything, and she went straight to find the bathroom to sort her hair out first, so that she can come in and be addressed. So hair is really the crown of every person, I would say every person, men and women these days, because it is part of you. And it is so important to have an understanding about hair, especially in the medical sciences. Hair is being used in so many things. Like, I mean, when diagnosing, when understanding what is going on with your health status as well. Okay, so what's the weirdest fact you have heard about hair? What's the weirdest fact you've ever heard about hair?
That if you die, it stays on your body forever.
Very, very important, because hair is made up of keratin, fibrous keratin, the strongest keratin. Because what happens is like, there's something as well contribute to that one. You know, people say when a person dies, the hair will continue to grow.
It's true. It is, I've seen it. I have seen it. It is true.
So
It's
you
not
know,
a myth, it's really true.
It is true.
It's a myth, but there is some truth in it.
I've
I
seen
will
it.
explain that when I'm explaining about the follicle. There is some truth inside of that, but even though it's twisted a little bit. Okay, yeah. So we'll get to that. Remind me when we're talking about the follicle, okay? So is there anyone that has had, you know, any weirdest fact you have had about it?
I wouldn't say weirdest, but the most realistic thing ever is your hair growth or your hair can be a measurement for your health state. Because
Yes.
you can see on your hair how
That's-
healthy you are.
That's what, yes, exactly,
And
and
how-
doctors are finding out now as well.
Yeah, and how intact your immune system is.
Yeah, exactly, correct. And I'll contribute to that as well. You know, the forensic sciences these days, they use hair for DNA, finding out who has raped who has stolen some property from who. So
Yeah.
it's all through hair as well. So you will know a lot today. Yeah.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
I've heard something else, that if a baby is born with hair, you have to cut it so that it grows much better. And
Right, okay.
Is that a myth or is that really true?
We will talk about that one. Remind me, because there's hair called lanugo hair. Lanugo hair is the hair that comes with the baby, from the fetus,
Birth, yeah.
from the fetus to the baby. So we'll talk about that one as well, yeah? But remind me when we get to that, so that we'll cover that today, right? Any other contributions? Okay, how about, did you like science, you know, when growing up, whilst you were growing up? Did you like science? What do you think about science?
Not a favorite.
Not many people
Not a
like
favorite.
science, right? Science is more like, you know, like finding out the truth about gossip. You know, when people are gossiping, like, is there any evidence about it? Because with science, everything has to have the evidence. They have to have proof,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's based on proof, evidence, correct. So, organogenesis. So that's our first one, organogenesis. So this is how the hair is formed from the mother's womb, from the fetus stage. As you can see here, this is the follicle structure. So that's the skin. The follicle, hair grows from inside the skin. And hair is made up of fibrous protein keratin. So this is the hair. As you see here at the bottom here, the hair is getting its supply from the main arteries. I'll also use this one as well. But if you can all see this one. So, can you see this one?
Yes.
Structure as well? Right, this one. So with this, as you can see, this is the full structure of the skin with all the 3 major layers. Yeah, sorry. So this is the full structure of the skin with all the 3 major layers, right? So the top layer is the epidermis layer. And the middle layer, that's where we'll be talking a lot about, what is here. So this middle layer is the one that is called the dermis layer. And the bottom one is the hypodermis layer or hypotenous layer. It's more like a fat layer, fat storage. So the fat is stored in this layer, which is next to the bone. This one is like the bone structure. This one here. Are we all together on this one? Any questions so far? No? Okay, good. So this is the follicle at a closed angle. That's the follicle at an open angle. So what you're seeing here is like the dermal papilla collecting the blood supply from the arteries, the main arteries and the main veins into the hair bulb, which is this one. So it's all being supplied and going inside here. So the secrets of hair is mainly here. This is the area where the hair is alive. Okay? So let me take you a little bit back to when this whole follicle is formed. The follicle is formed at the age of 8 weeks, when the baby has been formed inside the womb, fetus. So the age of 8 weeks, that's when the follicle begins to be created. Then the hair itself, around 12 weeks, the cells of the hair, that's when they start to form, around 12 weeks. Are we all connected? Follow me? Great. Yeah, so when the supply of the blood is here in the hair bulb, there will be, in the supply, there will be like the vitamins will be through there as well, oxygen and the nutrients, the stem cells, and when they get in here, then there will be a division of cells. It's like more like having, yeah, imagine a mother and a daughter. So you get in here, so the mother gives birth to the daughter. Then the mother is pushed upwards. So the daughter remains here to also give birth to new cells. Do you get it? So it's like the older cells are pushed upwards because they have done whatever they're supposed to be inside like this, like a house, this tube. So the older cells are pushed, the mature cells are pushed upwards. Then the daughter cells, they're actually called daughter cells. The daughter cells remain here to create new cells. So this is where we find all the keratin cells that creates the hair. Also, we have the melanocytes, that's for the color. And then we also have got every nutrient nutrients, everything is all found in here as well. That is to create, form the hair, feed the hair. But by the time the hair gets here, everything is dead because the older cells are pushed upwards to create and form a compact of cells, which becomes a hair strand, which you see here. So hair is only alive when it's here, but it's dead when it's only alive when it's here. Sorry, hair is only alive when it's inside here, but it's dead when it's here. Okay? So hair is dead here, hair is alive here. So this is so important for you to understand that when the hair you see is dead, the hair here is alive. It's very important because when we're talking about products, this is going to help you to understand about products. So this is organogenesis, how the hair is formed. Then we're going to cut your hair. This hair you see here is called terminal hair. So the hair you see, you know, like on your skin, it's called vellus hair, unpigmented hair, vellus hair. Then we have got androgenetic hair, which is the hair you find on your armpits, on other private parts. So then also the lanugo hair that you asked that time, that's the hair, you know, during the 9 months of the baby, there is hair called lanugo hair. And in most cases, that hair sheds off before the child is born. But in some cases, the child can be born with a bit of that hair. So that's why you find some people, they shave that hair so they can start from scratch. That's where the myth of that is. Do you get it now?
Okay.
Okay. So this is the structure of the hair. And what you see here, these are sebaceous glands. The one that secretes the oil that lubricates the hair follicle, helping with the growth. So it's so important to drink loads of water so that in your circulation you have enough of this to help with healthy hair, right? So the matrix cells are the ones I said they keep dividing, pushing the mature cells up and the daughter cells to remain here. Then we are going to talk about the, so we've covered about, no, we'll talk about the hair, so I'm still there, okay. We'll talk about the hair, the layers inside of a hair strand. So every hair strand has got like 3 layers. So there is, the medulla is the middle part. So this medulla is the one that, you know, when doing forensic science, checking DNA or finding out who the person is after years of a person has died, and then even thousands of years, you can track who the person is and where the person is from using a hair. So what we do in the science lab, we check it through the medulla, here, the middle layer. The one that is the center layer, the inside layer, the inner layer. Then there is another one which is like in the middle of it, the cortex. So in the cortex, this is where you find the keratin cells, the ones that actually creates hair strength, the real hair, the protein cells for the hair. This is where you find them. So the outer coat is just like wrapping paper for Christmas. You know, it's just there, the cuticle, it protects the cortex. So this is when people are coloring the hair, going blonde, like me. or doing other products that you could use, what you'll be doing is like you're lifting this coat so that whatever product you're using will go inside the cortex to alter the whatever is happening inside the cortex. That's when you end up having blonde color, or you could say when you have got hair that is afroid hair like mine, if I want to alter it into straight hair, that's what happens. That's the science behind it. Anyone with a question on this one?
Relearning.
You're learning, absorbing. Okay, yes, Alistair?
So this is a really dumb question from the back. Why do we all have different colour hair? What makes the colour?
What makes the color? Okay, we'll cover that one as well. We are still, yes, yeah. Because when I'm going to talk about hair
I'm particularly
morphology,
interested, why is mine going grey?
we'll talk about that one as well. But we are still on this subject as well, which we will discuss about the hair color as well. Right, very interesting question. So let's start hair morphology. Yeah, that's where you are now. So we are on the hair morphology. Hair morphology, there's 3 types of hair morphologies. There is afroid, which is my hair type. There is, can I just use you for an example?
Yeah.
Sit here, please. Yeah. So, you see, Paul. You see, Paul's hair is straight, right? And Paul's hair is different from my hair. Can someone just tell me, why do you think this hair is different? Why is Paul having hair that's different to mine?
Genetics.
It's the genes.
Genetics?
Melanin.
Melanin? What else?
I mean, it's clear. Caucasian and,
Okay, right, okay. So, yes, it is. Because, thank you, Paul. Take a seat, thank you. So, you see, it's to do with, afroid. We call it in science, it's afroid, for Afro people. With the shape of the follicle is actually different from the shape of caucasoid follicle. And that's also, the caucasoid follicle is also different from the Asian follicle, which is called mongoloid. So what happens, like there's 3 types of follicles. So we have got, there's an elliptical one, which is for afroid people. It's more like flat. I think this is when we get here. This is the elliptical one. It's more like flat. So it creates hair that is like that, curly. Then some afroid people, it can be up to here as well, going this way. Then in caucasoid, it can just be like these 2 as well, which the hair is more like wavy because the shape of the follicle is oval. Okay? Then we come to Asian, which is more like when you got Japanese, Korean, Chinese. It's more like the hair is straight because the follicle is circle, it's round and larger. So it's kind of like produces hair that's quite thick, much healthier and stronger, right?
Yeah.
Then, because of the shape of the follicle, you know what we were discussing, the supply of the nutrients from the blood in here. So we have something we call as well, when we go further, they are, what makes the hair to be like this becomes, the sulfide bonds, they become disulfide bonds because of the manipulation of the follicle, which makes it to be fragile, weaker, and curlier. Right? Okay? But you will still find some here who have hair like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying that curly hair is weaker than straight hair?
Yes, very, very weak.
I didn't know.
very, very weak, very, very fragile.
Do you find,
Even the chemicals that I used, different chemicals. They're not supposed to be the same.
so what happens in the case where you have a mixture?
A mixed race,
When a mixture
Child?
of the shape?
a mixture of, you mean like when we have mixed race kids, right?
No, when you have a shape, like the shape,
Like
like
when
you've
it's
got the
forced in
coily
here.
hair. Like sometimes you have a mixture of coily hair and curly hair.
Yeah,
I can
Yeah,
see
that's-
that also by my kids, that sometimes they've got certain parts of their hair
yeah,
which are curly,
yeah.
and then certain parts are like coily, and then other part is wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, then we come into genetics, genes, you know.
Okay.
So the thing is like every follicle is different from any other
Each
follicle.
and every one on your head.
Each follicle is different.
Okay.
They are not the same. They're like
Alright.
me, Agnes, Mildred, Paul. They, if we were to name them, they're all different. Yeah. So hair is quite, the strength of hair is as strong as a horn, like the horn of an elephant. The only difference there is because the elephant has got 2 follicles.
Yeah.
And then we have thousands of follicles, which are from, I would say, Afroid people, because of the shape, the follicles they range between 80,000 to maximum maybe 100, 110,000.
Yeah.
Then when we go into Caucasoid and Asian, from 100 to 150,000. Yeah. So it's so important as well to know that, I mean, what we are saying here, because when I will explain something, you know, when you see hair, when you start shading hair, that's when we will talk about that, because a
Yeah.
certain percentage of hair will fall every day. But we'll get to that. Then we go into the color of the, is that the question?
I've got another dumb question from the back. So the follicles change, because both my daughters, when up to, I don't know, age 7, 8, had curly hair, really curly hair.
Yeah,
And you know both of them, Agnes.
yeah.
Now both of them have really straight hair. Why is that? Why do follicles change, or is there something else making that happen?
Follicles, they can alter, you know, not, it's, I'll give an example of like when someone has had cancer. In cancer patients, some of them, especially when it is from the Caucasoid hair, you will find when the hair is coming, but the hair can be curly or gray. Because a follicle could be altered with different things that could cause it to be altered. Sometimes it's just a genetic thing for its shaping, you know, when children are born, the shape of the nose, everything could also change as the child is growing, right? Shaping to take their own identity, who they are with time. So that also happens like that, yeah? So, but when somebody has encountered trauma, let's say having a car accident, and then you have an injury on your head, you will find that sometimes the hair could be altered as well. And also when people have had cancer and they have taken chemotherapy through cancer, that could alter a follicle as well. Yeah. So then we will talk about the color, the hair color. So there is, with the color, hair color, there is like 3 major, I'll talk about 2 types of hair, brown and dark hair. So that also is genetic, because when we go in we could call them e-melanin and pheomelanin. So in the eomelanin, it has got black, which is quite like, we call it dark, and the other one is like brown. So the brown will go towards the blonde as well. And there's the pheomelanin is the red hair, the red colors. So that one is kind of like deep as well. We'll be going into like skin tones, skin color. When we go like, you know, the people that are very light, pale, then they'll go, you know, the north, as we go, you know, towards the Norway, because of the reds, the colors. So that's a subject, a huge subject for another day, because that's when we will be tracing where the person is originally from, right? But that's kind of like tip. So when you go the graying of the hair, which you asked as well, so remember the follicle? When we have the follicle, so when a person is getting older, so I mean it could be genetic as well. When a person is getting older, when your metabolism and everything is getting weaker, you will find that even the follicle as well will start showing signs, which is what we will discuss more on the vitamin tablets, because they will also help with those restoration of coloring and everything as well. So you will find, so all this happens here. Once you start getting, you know, tired, weaker, whatever, with age, your metabolism slowing down, here, the follicles will also, you know, the pigment, the production of the pigment will also begin to actually getting weaker as well, and you start getting gray hair. Whilst we're on this one, I found people saying, if I pull the hair, the next one, this end, because it's all from here, remember. Everything is alive here. It's all from here. So even when we are discussing about food to eat, nutrients, remember it's all here in the hair bulb. Okay? Anyone with a question so far? Okay?
I've seen people in their 20s with, you know, strands of grey hair. That wouldn't be.
That can be genetic, because we talk about, when we're talking about conditions, you know, like diseases, like even male pattern hair loss, when people start getting bald early, that is genetic as well. That starts early. So you'll find some people can carry some gene traits, some traits of genes that could also alter those things as well. Yeah? So do we have any questions on this one? So that I can go on the hair cycle. So there is a cycle which is so important to understand. This is very, very important to know and understand about hair cycle. Hair cycle is it happens to everybody. Yeah? So there are 3 stages of hair cycle. There's the anagen, the catagen, and the telogen. So the anagen phase is the growth phase. This is when the hair is active here in the hair bulb. You remember? Where the cells, they keep dividing, the daughter cell remains active, the mature cell is pushed up to go out, right? And then, so that stage is called the anagen stage. It normally takes between 2 years to 7 years, depending with individuals, because it's genetic as well. But it could be longer when you go to some Asian people and you find their hair quite long. It means their anagen phase is longer, right? Then we go to a regression phase.